Bonjour les élèves. Okay, we're going to go over your lesson for today, which is going to be numbers of 101 and higher. You can follow along with this video. There are very helpful clues and things for you. And if you really need to, you can also check on pages 168 and 169 of the text. Okay, so here we go. In your notes, you have a chart to complete with these numbers. Please follow along as I give you their pronunciation and pause as you need to. So for our numbers 101 and higher, we have first 101, 125. So you'll simply notice we put the word for 100 right before the number. You can probably guess what we'll have for 198, 198. When we get into our multiple hundreds, you're going to see something change a little bit. 200. Notice that the word for hundred has an S at the end. But when we add a number after that, 245, notice that that S has dropped off of cent. So let's do the next hundreds here that we have. This should make total sense to us. 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. The next new word we're going to have is the word for 1,000. The way this is written looks a little bit odd to us probably. We're used to putting a comma in our number, and we'll talk about this in a moment. But for now, here's the word for 1,000. 1000. This might seem like a cognate with another number, but when we get to that other number, you're going to see how it no longer really sounds like it. So at the moment you might be a little confused, but that's okay. Now let's forge ahead here and look at 1,100. You'd simply add them together, so you would say 1100. Taking a guess here at 2,000 would be 2000, then 5000, 100 000, 50 1 million. You see what I was talking about there? And then 8 millions. So these are numbers that you need to take down. Of course, all of the numbers between them should be one that you could come up with on your own based on this. So we already talked about commas or periods. Make sure that you have in your notes that you will use a period rather than a comma to indicate thousands and millions. Then in your notes we have this thing about cent and cent, and I'm asking if the cents and cents, does it make sense? So what we saw happen in our chart was that the word cent does not take a final S when it's followed by the numbers 1 through 99. So the examples that we have here are there are 250 sunny days and I have 400 comic books. Look what happens here. Il y a 250 jours de soleil. Then j'ai 400 bandes dessinées. Notice how 400 has that S at the end of it. Now the word un. The number un is not used before the word mille if we want to say or 1,000. It is used, however, before million to say or 1 million. So we have either 1,000 people live in the village and then 1 million people live in the region. So 1000 personnes habitent le village and then 1 million de personnes habitent la région. There's another difference between these two numbers that we will talk about in a moment. An invariable with our numbers is a number that will not change. That is mille. Unlike cent and million, it doesn't change. It is invariable. So it never takes an S. So do you like the 1,001 nights or 11,000 students are registered? You see the difference. Les 1001 nuits and 11 000 étudiants sont inscrits. Mille does not change. Now before a noun, million and million, both singular and plural, are going to be followed by de or d apostrophe. That's the other difference we saw in the notes a moment ago. So 2 million people are on vacation, and greet me with my little joke that I put in here in the morning or when we see each other again, so that way we'll see who was able to follow along. But look at this. 2 millions de personnes sont en vacances. And then this 11 million in the capital, il y a 11 millions d'habitants dans la capitale. They probably mean to say that there are 11 million people in the capital. Okay, and now if we talk about years, when writing out our years, the word mille is usually shortened, its spelling, just to M-I-L. So 1865, or we could even say 1865, 1865. You'll notice that that cent we can't drop. Okay, so the years before 2000 can be expressed in two ways. In French, we have to have that word cent, unlike English where we can omit it. So we could have, 1913. And here's another thing that you can tell me is, where would you see a year written like this? It's not very likely that we see it every day, as opposed to 1913 or 1913. Okay, these are both, 1913 or 1913. You could say them both ways. They are correct. So we have some mathematical terms here that we need to take down. We have a way that we can express math terms formally and also informally. So our English basics, plus, minus, multiplied by, and divided by. We have, for plus, you could say et, moins, fois, sur. If you think about it, sur means over. So it'd be like if you're making a fraction, you put it over it, you're dividing it. That's why they say that. And then equals, you would say font, which is our verb faire. The formal way, instead of saying et, you'd say plus, moins stays the same, multiplier par, diviser par, and then égal. So this verb égaler, to equal, is expressed in the singular, but the verb faire, when we say font, is going to be plural in our equations. So you see how these are both the same equation? Okay, 110 et 205 font 315, or 110 plus 205 égale, it's singular. So here are a couple more for you to take down so that you have some practice with those. Circle the words font or égal, or underline them if that helps you memorize it. And you know what? That is it for our numbers for now. A bientôt!